Oh, I was perfect in every way. And then my dad killed him. Oh boy. Hey guys, welcome to Reviewing with Kodi and Tommy. So this week we saw Mad Max Road Fury. Don't you mean Fury Road? Yes, that's it, Mad Max Fury Road. So the movie opens on this big desert area with what looks to be like Max, or yeah, it opens with Max, and it looks like he's peeing, and then he steps on a two-headed lizard and eats it. And then he packs all his crap into his car and drives away, and then his car does like a few flips, and then he gets taken hostage into the den of the Bonemen. Yeah, and they tattoo his blood type on his back, and it also says high octane, so that's for blood donation, I guess. And basically, he gets turned into a human blood bank or blood donation. He's just a donor from now on. To instead of giving people water, I think they give him blood transfusions to make him feel better for whatever reason. But yeah, so now he's a human blood bag, which is what they call him in the movie. And then we see this big rally where you see Charlize Theron for the first time, and she's driving a big oil rig, and she's going to get gas and bullets, I guess. And then we see the villain for the first time, which is this, I guess, older guy who's all painted white, and he has to use a special apparatus to breathe. Yeah, and then he announces that they're going to get more gasoline from Gasoline Town, which is a thing in the movie. And bullets from the bullet farm, which is another funny thing. And then he gives a little bit of water to his people and says, "Don't get addicted to it, because water is addicting." For some reason. I don't know why. Do you know why? No, I have no clue. I don't drink water. I've been drinking water in like 3 years. I got hooked on it for a while, so then I quit it. So yeah, so they go out, and then just somewhere along the road, Charlize turns off and just veers off into the desert, and then the bad guy sees him, his little bearded little man guy in his seat has a telescope and sees him, and so they realize that, or he realizes that she stole something from him, something very precious to him, and they get a whole war party gang of cars and follow after them, and that's where we see Max and Beast, the guy who played Beast in X-Men. He's in it too, as a Skullman. Yeah, and then Beast wants to be the guy to capture Charlize, but he's low on energy, so he hitches Mad Max to the front of his car so he can finish the blood transfusion while they're driving. And then a giant car chase scene happens that has a lot of flames and explosions in it, and a lot of cars being destroyed. And the cars look really good. There's some that have spikes and stuff. And yeah, so there's that big car chase scene, and then it ends when they go into a dust storm, basically, and Charlize's tanker gets stuck and has dust in it. And then Mad Max and Beast, their car crashes. And so you think Beast is dead, and then Mad Max is chained to him. So he goes to the tanker to steal it, essentially, so he can get out of there. And then he sees a bunch of girls just hosing themselves down because of all the dust, and Charlize is getting all the dirt out of the engine. And then he tries to get the mask off, and he tries to steal the tanker, but only Charlize knows how to start it upright, and so she has to drive him, and she drives him to some canyon place that she made a deal with some guy to give him gas and for safe passage. And then the other bad guys are following her, and then they just blow a little arch in the canyon, and they don't, so they can't make it through except the main bad guy, the original Ghostface Killer. He makes it through on this awesome giant dune buggy thing, and basically chases after the tanker with Max and the girls in it that were his property, because he owns people, Ghostface Killer. So yeah, he's chasing after him, and there's a big long car chase with explosions and stuff, and basically it ends with there's one pregnant girl, and the pregnant one falls out, and Ghostface Killer runs her over and kills her. And yeah, and he tries to save her. Yeah, so they get there and they go in tonight, and they go to like this sort of muddy area where their cars are getting constantly stuck. Yeah, so Max and Charlize are always a little bit ahead, but not too much. And there's always somebody chasing them throughout this whole thing. This whole thing is essentially one long car chase movie, I feel like, which is pretty cool. I like that idea, that they always have to keep moving. But so yeah, they get to this bog, and Ghostface Killer, most of his cars can't go through, but one of the guys has like tank tracks that'll go through, so he has him go forward. But in the meantime, he sees that he forces a doctor to take the kid out of his dead pregnant wife, and he just says to one of the guys who's apparently the son of the Ghostface Killer, he just basically says, you had a brother and he was excellent. And the guy just goes, "Oh, I had a brother and he was excellent until my papa ran over the mom while she was carrying him." I really hope somebody hashtags that. Yeah, just hashtag I had a baby brother until he got ran over by my father. Yeah, that's the hashtag. That's this episode's hashtag, everybody. I know we haven't done it in the past, but hashtag, he was my baby brother, then he got run over by my dad. Yeah, that's the hashtag. But yeah, so this guy is trying to find him, and he's just shooting everywhere, and he's got a spotlight on the front of his car, which is awesome. But so Charlize shoots it out and blinds the guy. So basically the guy gets blinded, and then just while they're shooting, while they try and move the car because it's stuck in the mud. And they keep going a little further, and Max goes back to kill him, and then, which he does, and there's a big explosion. So you don't really see that action scene, which is, kind of cool in its own right. But they go, and then they finally, after the day is over, and there's stickmen, there's like people walking on stilts, kind of like in Dishonored. They're kind of like tall and creepy looking, and you're not sure if they'll kill you or not. But so they make it to the end, or they're going to Charlize's home, and they make it there. Actually, technically the swamp was her home, and that's as far as they went. And so they find the tribe of women that she was trying to get all these sex slaves to, and they find out that there's only like 5 or 6 of them left. So they're like, we're gonna go across the Great Salt Canyon, and do you want to come with us, Max? And Max is like, no, I'll go on my own. And then he has a change of heart because he's a freaking psychopath, and his daughter tells him to have a change of heart. His dead daughter. Yeah, so he goes back and convinces them to just go straight back to the Citadel, which is the place where they originated from, is called. So they have the bold idea that they're gonna ram them, kill just Ghostface Killer, and then block the canyon with the tanker, which is just basically filled with breast milk, apparently, which actually gets bled out quite well, I hear, and or as you see in the movie. I didn't hear that. I saw it in the movie. What? Where? Have you heard that? Have you ever heard that, Tommy? No, I've never heard it. I just saw it in the movie. I just think that's a realistic type of thing. Yeah, it's anyways, so that's their plan, and they kind of succeed, and then so they're getting chased by them, and they're heading towards the canyon, and some of the tribe of women people are dying, and they're taking a few people with them, and Mad Max is helping. And so is the Skull Boy. He fixes their engine, or he spits gasoline into their engine, and it makes them go faster. Somebody please comment on this and tell me if that's a real thing. But they're in another big old car chase again, which is so amazing. It's the best thing ever. So they're getting chased, and a part of the roof gets torn off at one point, and the Zoe Kravitz, who's in X-Men also, for some weird reason, she gets taken, and they put her in the car into Ghostface Killer's car. And so basically they're like, we have to rescue her, and then Charlize gets stabbed in the stomach, or well, just on the side. And Max gets shot with a crossbow, but sees his daughter and puts his hand up so it doesn't kill him. And they eventually just jump into the other dude's car, and Beast sacrifices himself, which I forgot to mention is a running theme, that he wants to sacrifice himself gloriously in battle so he can go to Valhalla, the elven dwarvish kingdom where you eat food all day and drink root beer, and then you fight. Yeah, so they get into the other car, and they make it back, and everyone's excited. They release all the water that he had stored up, because basically the only people left are the child soldiers, and they're like, hey, we don't want to be child soldiers. What kind of child soldier does? So yeah, they get back, and Charlize is probably the leader because she led that tanker, and boy was she good at it. And Max just slowly slinks away, and Charlize sees him, and they give each other a little neutral nod, or mutual nod, not neutral nod. That's weird. But they so that's the end. So what were some highlights for you, Tommy? The score was really good. The fact that it's just basically a non-stop car chase scene, and our guns are going off and explosions, but there's very just little time to keep going. You can see why Max is crazy. Yeah, it's very much a Mad Max. This movie is more a reflection of the world he lives in, and really the brightest stars are Charlize and all the. Yeah, basically Charlize is the brightest. She's basically the star of this movie, not Max. It's more he's just there because to tell the tale, and it's more her story, which is excellent. No complaints there. But I don't have anything with her for that. You feeling? So yeah, go see this movie. Don't forget to share this video and hashtag it with "Oh, I had a baby brother until my dad ran over it." Don't forget to use that hashtag, because that is hilarious. And, also, we didn't even talk about the guitar guy. He was another breakout performance. Yeah, they have, like in most war things, they have drums, but this guy is on a bunch of bungee cords, and is playing a guitar, and he shoots flames out of it. Oh, he was the best. He's even more of a standout character than Charlize in this movie, and it was nice to get a little bit of the guitar licks while they're fighting. It's pretty awesome. And it's just this giant wall of speakers. You've probably seen it. If you haven't, when you see the movie, you'll know what we're talking about, because it's amazing. It's one of the best characters I've ever seen since IG-88. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and don't forget that hashtag, because it's funny. Okay? We're going to hand it off to old Pop-Pops now to have him ramble on about something, so have a good night! Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Tommy. Well, today I was going to talk about apocalypse survival and how you should have a plan for the apocalypse, but instead I want to talk about an article I read today relating to Mad Max Fury Road. The article stated that men's rights activists, I'm sorry, I can't say that without laughing, are saying that the movie is feminist propaganda disguised as an action movie. That's right. A group of men who probably grew vaginas on their necks have their panties in a bunch over seeing female characters get most of the best dialogue and kick some ass along the way. Now, you might be thinking, how could I possibly know that they have vaginas? Well, I don't. I just made that up. But I pulled that from context clues like Batman, although perverted Batman. Now, why would I make that up? Well, if you read further into the article, that's exactly what they did. The men's rights activist did. The article says Clary, who hasn't actually seen the film yet, describes being mortified when discovering from critics who hailed Theron's performance and the well-rounded nature of her role in the film. That Fury Road was not your average action movie. Charlize Theron kept showing up a lot in the trailers, of course, while Tom Hardy and Mad Max seemed to have cameo appearances. I don't agree. Theron sure talked a lot during the trailers. Well, I don't think I've heard one line from Hardy. And finally, Theron's character barked orders to Max. Nobody barks orders to Mad Max. Ugh. Okay. Now, if you're confused, well, you're not the only one. I was also confused, not just that there's a men's rights activist group, but they're not okay with there being with females being the main focus of a movie. I mean, come on, it's 2015. Start acting like it. Now, I could go on about how Max is more of a strong silent type and speaks better with his actions, and how he's a lone wolf who is very insular and basically talks to himself through narration, and listens to his dead daughter, who subliminally also barks orders at him. But instead, I'm just going to talk about some movies I like with strong female protagonists. And then I'll leave the hate part up to other people on the internet, because Lord knows they deserve it. Anyways, let's start off with one of the best action sci-fi movie series, the Alien series, more specifically, Aliens. Which not only has one very strong female protagonist, Sigourney Weaver, or Ripley, but also has Private Vasquez, who's played by Jeanette Goldstein, who is definitely a badass with a giant gun and knows how to use it, unlike Ripley, who has to get taught by Hicks. I think that's his name. Also, there's a bunch of brooding male heroes, so it's about, even, but females get more of the focus in this one too. My next example, or final example too, is the Mass Effect games. Now, there are 3 games in this Mass Effect series, and you can choose to play as either a male or a female. I, of course, have done many playthroughs, so I've done both. So, but one of my best playthroughs was as a female. That's the one where I pretty much accomplished everything, and it was the only time I've ever played a game where the facial choices I made, I liked all the way throughout the game. Usually about 10 minutes in I start hating it, but this time I did not. And also the person who voices the woman in this one does a better job, so there's that. But there's also many other supporting male and female characters who are strong, and they also help and inspire you along the way throughout your game journey. So, I guess just to sum everything up, it is 2015. Don't get all uppity because someone forced you or tricked you into seeing one of the best movies of the year. Or not, in the case of neck ginas. in Neck Gina's case. Anyways, you know, thanks for lending an old soul your ears. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and Twitch and all that jazz. So until next episode, remember guys, use the hashtag I had a baby brother until my dad ran it over. Okay, have a great day, people. Oh God, that's gross.